there's a definition of a word, and it states that a word is composed of two parts, and that's reflection and action. So that means if one part is sacrifice, then the other suffers as well. So I'm sure to tell the students in my writing class that we must be mindful of the words that flow from our mouths. And we should also be concerned with how they come out. You know, we talk about things like compassion and sincerity, and nation and community, and how trained our eyes they have to be to see that though some centuries have passed, slavery's past is present and evident. Chains still drag and bags get heavier. And a little sister, she heard this and looked at me. She folded her arms and began to speak. She said, Mama Sunni has seen that we just go from bad to worse. Like everything's in reverse. Like what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong. She asked them. She said, well, how do we solve these problems you speak of? And how in the world do we right all these wrongs? And I respond that we right them by writing these poems. And we write them by singing redemption songs. And we write them by living our life like the goal is to be much greater than the day that came before. So we write them by being grateful just because the sun rose, or just because the moon glows, or just because the grass grows. We write them by writing and singing and living, by touching and praying, by giving and receiving, by loving and affirming, by standing and knowing and feeling and being faithful to this God that we claim to believe in, and serve him in a manner that our children might see how we come from a line of kings and queens, of prophets and dreamers, diviners and speakers and sayers of words who give life and light when the dead of the night engulfs all the earth, and blind is the sight and still is the birth. But the children of our children's children will say how they are not ashamed to proclaim that the name of our God, it will rain through the rain and the sun and the fog, or whatever the weather, and all of our days they can be as the seventh, and we will rest just knowing that heaven can be on this earth for its worth. I can slash my own throat if my speech doesn't speak of the face that we see, because our freedom must be as complete as the circuit of the sun, from the east to the west, from the rise to the set. And they look and wonder, is it that serious? I answer yes. It's a matter of life and death. It's as sacred as breath, as precious as a kiss. So our remembrance of those who came before, who paved our path and opened our doors and gave of themselves so we might have more, is important, because we owe our all. And as sure as the God of our ancestors endures, I pray that our speech is perfect and pure and pleasing to the force that governs this world. Yes. Only then can we say that our work is good. So give thanks and ask for increased understanding and guidance and bravery on this path that we trod, and let goodness it guide, make discerning our sight, because we can right all of these wrongs by really living what we write.